Okay, it's another day, and I let this stuff cook off for a couple hours. It actually drained some black stuff on the ground, and then I shut it off and let it sit for a couple hours before I left. Let's see what we got. Holy moly. Wow. Looks like everything kind of melted together. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to get that out. For one thing, I'm going to go find some gloves. Oh, there's my gloves. Before I do that, let me show you this. So I was sitting here pondering about this thing, the case, of how they could have made those things. And I'm like, there's no way they could have molded that and, you know, remove the stuff from the inside somehow. I was like, they had to have put something on the back, and that's exactly what they did. So they milled out all of this, or cast, it looks like they cast a lot of it. Then they milled it out, then they glued in some, it looks like radiator stuff. Okay, there's some different stuff here. I really want to peel the whole thing, but that was a lot of work just getting that. But that explains how they were able to get this water cool. They literally just glued this piece of aluminum to the back side. So let me grab my gloves and then we'll pull that stuff out. Now, I don't think there was any type of battery in there. Whoa! I mean, that might have been a battery. Still not really sure what that is. See if I can get the rest of this stuff out. I really don't, oh, I thought that was plastic. That whole thing's aluminum. I don't recommend doing this because this was, this stunk really bad. That did basically cleaned up that number 2 copper. Wow, some of this stuff is still on here. Not really sure what's in there. You might be able to pry that open a little more. Oh no! That was my favorite metal bucket. Actually, that was my only metal bucket. Put that shit outside, man. This stuff absolutely reeks. Now, this is just a cobble of crap. Who knows what that was? Copper. Okay, so that there. I have no idea what that was. Maybe that was a capacitor or something. I mean, that almost looks like that aluminum foil stuff you see in capacitors. That's actually all copper. We'll clean that up a little bit. That's all like some type of copper bandage. I know one thing, it did a good job at melting this stuff and making a lot of stench. These things are still pretty heavy. It's like a transformer in there. It's got copper. Okay. Keep that for processing. Let's get all these out of here. So, I still haven't seen a battery anywhere. All this stuff was electric boards and transformers, really. Okay. Some kind of metal case there. A nice chunk of aluminum. More transformers. Okay. I mean, it's kind of loaded up with copper. Okay. That one's a little different. Throw that with the prepared steel. It's like a piece of brass. Alright. So we pretty much know these are going to be transformers. Let's see what we got in here. More transformers. Oh, there's a nice coil there. Oh, I got a lot of air blowing across here taking this dust away, but I think I might have to go get my mask. Yeah. So, there is going to be some copper recovery here. There was literally no batteries in none of this. So, I'm going to put a time lapse on, blow through this stuff real quick. I'm going to put my mask on because this is, you know, I don't want to be breathing this shit. Then we'll kind of weigh this stuff up at the end and see what we got. Unfortunately, I'm just throwing this crap in the garbage. We can kind of determine at the end of how much waste was there. But it looks like majority of the weight was these transformers and the case itself. So we'll see you on the back side of the time lapse.
At the bottom of the ocean.
Okay, that actually wasn't too bad. Now, if I didn't cook this stuff, I don't think this stuff would have came apart that easy, because it was actually originally coated with that like black, whatever that stuff is, tar type stuff. But I just want to show you what we have here. Let me put my glove on because this stuff absolutely stinks. So there was a bunch of what you could call toroidal transformers, I guess, and it literally, like, it's turning to dust. But the interesting thing is this stuff is magnetic. So this is metal. It's almost like a foil at this point. And then the other stuff, you guys all know this. This is the ferrite, that really brittle metal. Also magnetic, okay? The little thing, literally everything here was a transformer. There was no batteries. I thought some of these would have been capacitors. Those little things like that, they were actually some type of transformer. They had this little doohickey down in the middle. That is magnetic, but there was a nugget of copper down in there, okay? And we got a nice little chunk in the bucket. But let me show you, let me put my mask on. This stuff creates a lot of dust and it's just nasty. It's amazing how cooking that stuff, there's like a little thing in the middle there. It's amazing how cooking that stuff makes that ferrite steel even more brittle, but these things literally just pull apart. I mean, you can knock these apart in a few seconds. You know, literally all this here just took me a couple minutes. And then that'll all go into prepared steel. I want to weigh that, kind of get an idea. And then this was another transformer. This is like an oval, but still like a toroidal transformer. And as you can see, that stuff is just, it's just gotten so so brittle. It's just like falling apart. Now the other one like this, I literally just unwound it like this. And you could cut the coils and whatever, but it seemed like it was coming apart pretty easy. I don't have the best, these are actually really nice gloves. Adam sent these to me. The problem is the fingers are like really huge. You don't get that feel. They're really good for like really aggressive, handling aggressive stuff, sharp stuff. I should have went and got a thinner pair of gloves, but as you can see, the stuff is literally just coming right out. Nice little chunk of number 2 copper in there. Now I would definitely consider this whole thing, this video, as micro scrapping. Look at that stuff just deteriorating. Look, I mean, I could probably just, oh, there we go. I just ripped it in half. You ever see them people rip apart phone books? I rip apart steel. Alright. So, that's it for that. I'm going to call on a price for copper because it seems like the stock market is dropping. I haven't checked on the price of copper in a while, but all of this is going right in the prepared steel. All of that. Let's get a weighing on that. Okay. Well, that's not much, but 7.27 pounds. I gotta find my original paperwork for that. There we go. So being that once I took that whole thing apart, I threw that in the kiln and then went and did something else. I did cook that off for a good, I mean, that was probably in there cooking for 5 or 6 hours. But it does take that kiln probably 2 hours to come up to full temperature, or maybe even longer, I'm not sure. But I can tell you, I wouldn't have been able to recover that easily. Literally, all that, taking that stuff apart, I did that in like 20 minutes. Plus I was filming, changing cameras. Now if you have a kiln and you can cook stuff, that's kind of very helpful. I wouldn't recommend it unless you have a place you can do it. It's not gonna, it smelled like when you cook an electric motor. You know, you're cooking off that chemical stuff. Probably not the best idea. I really don't recommend it. This is not something I do on a regular basis. This is a very unique thing. Oh, we got some aluminum here too. Six pounds of aluminum. All right, I'm gonna get that in a bucket. See if I can do that before this camera dies. Definitely gonna put my mask on for this one. Oh, that's heavy. That was a lot of the weight. Oh. Okay. All right, let's see. Oh. .9 pounds of steel. Now, I believe there were some other bits. I'm not even gonna worry about that. All right, so I'm gonna get a current price on number 2 copper and aluminum, and then we'll be back with a final on this and see if it was actually worth it. Now, being that I got this, I paid like a steel price for this. I think it's gonna be worth it. I have no idea how much the computer boards are gonna be, which we have lost. Oh, they're back there. Okay, they got hidden already. Now we have all this waste. Now a lot of that was probably ferrite steel, but we'll just chalk it up to, you know, garbage. Okay, so here's the breakdown for that. We had 99 pounds to start with. Now, I believe I paid like 5 cents a pound. It came with a bunch of other stuff. Now, if you just sold it off as is, it'd probably be going for shreddable because they couldn't see in it. You might get lucky and get iron aluminum for it. I doubt it. So I'm just going to be safe and say that thing was worth $6.93. Now, broke down, we had 6.28 pounds of electric boards. Now, I know that I would get 7 cents a pound if I sold that off as is. I don't know what those boards are actually worth. So we're just going to be going lowball on it. Say we would get 43 cents out of it. Cast aluminum, one of the heaviest things. 42 pounds. Now, cast went down. Everything went down, actually. 57 cents a pound. That lost like 7 cents over the past week. So that alone, just the case, was worth breaking that down at $23.94. Then we had number 2 insulated at 0.44, 90 cents a pound for 39 cents. The number 2 copper, 9.07 pounds, 325 a pound. That came way down for $29.47. And then the prepared steel, 20.9 pounds, 9 cents a pound, $1.88 for a total of $56.11. And then if you subtract the difference, which would have been $6.93, breaking that down, you would have gained $49.18. So now, unless you had a kiln, you weren't going to, or a way of cooking off all that tarish stuff. And I really don't recommend doing that. That stuff stunk. You wouldn't have been able to recover that number 2 copper there. And I don't know what those things would have actually went for, probably in the shred, but I cooked them off. Now, overall, I'd say the first half took me about an hour because I was filming and whatnot, and then the second half was literally like 20 minutes, if that. I mean, you could have knocked that, probably knocked all that out in like 10 or 15 minutes. I'd say if you weren't making a video, you could have knocked this out in an hour and made almost 50 bucks. So was that worth taking apart? I'd say so. I'd consider that micro scrapping, and it seems like, you know, we're averaging about $50 an hour micro scrapping. So I'd say it's a pretty good deal. So if you come this far, thanks for watching. Stay tuned. We have lots more micro scrapping. We got tons of stuff in here. We're about to start going through these drums. There's just all kinds of good stuff in here. We got backup battery systems, we got brass, we got radiators, we got copper. There's just all kinds of, look at these big old nuggets right there. There's just nuggets upon nuggets upon nuggets in here. So we're here for it, man. We're gonna recover all the nuggets. So on that note, we'll see you on the next one. I'll tell you where we're going, right to the scrap yard. Dancing. You ever seen the copper dance before? Oh yeah, look at that. Leave that little nugget compressed in there. Well, you know what? We need to get in the habit of checking these. I'm looking at that wire there, that's suspect. Looks like copper and aluminum. I don't know if that's really gonna be worth it. Dad, look at that. Aluminum. No. Not even gonna waste my time. That might be another copper coil. Oh yeah. Dual copper coils. I guess that's how You get the push and the pull. I wonder what's inside there.